everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my daily makeup routine and how easy it is. Today I'm going to start with L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. It has a bit of bronze and it is a great base for your makeup. I mix it in my hands for a bit of warmth and then I spread it on my face, making sure to get every inch. Sorry about that, that was the boyfriend. He did not know I was filming. Anyway, going to continue with the Lumi Glotion. Please make sure to bring it downwards to your neck, else it will create a harsh line. As you can see, it gives a subtle bronze tint. It's very natural, has just a tiny bit of shimmer. And I use makeup wipes when I'm not in front of the sink, because usually if I am in front of the sink, I make sure to wash my hands regularly. Next step, I'm skipping foundation and going straight to concealer with Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I like this during the day rather than putting on a full coverage concealer, especially now since my skin is doing okay in comparison to some other times during the month. But I will take this on the areas that have some redness. I prefer to use my fingers to start because it gives it some warmth and I think it blends it in or lets it sink in just beautifully. One tip I can give that makes all the difference is to be sure to apply concealer around the nasal area due to some small red veins, which usually causes redness. When you cover that up, it instantly brightens your face. Now I'll go in with the Beauty Blender. I don't always do this, but I see that I need a little help. My fingers can't do the whole job. But I'm doing this on the forehead primarily, but we'll go around the rest of my face just to make sure that it's seamlessly blended. So as you may have noticed, I still have to do my under eye concealer. Now I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer for my under eyes because it's a fuller coverage and my under eyes have a bit of a purpley blue hue because my skin is so thin. I don't like to put too much around my eyes because I do have some fine lines and my eyes just crease no matter what I use. Then I'll usually take a beauty blender or my fingers, just depending on how I feel, and I'll go all around the eye area, bringing it just a bit downwards towards my nostrils, just to make sure that it blends in. Some don't like to put concealer on their upper eyelids, however I do because I have redness up there and it ain't pretty. So I will blend concealer on there. I also find it's a great primer for eyeshadow if I choose to use eyeshadow that day. Depending on how my under eyes are looking, I'll add just a touch more of concealer for an even fuller coverage. I love Tarte Shape Tape because you can layer it and it doesn't look like it's gone overboard. Now this next step is a biggie for me. I have combination skin, so my T-zone gets very oily, so I need powder. I'm using a Laura Mercier container, but using RCMA No Color Pigment and pouring that in there just so I can use the beauty blender or a brush because the container the RCMA comes in just doesn't work with a brush or a beauty blender. Now I will kind of bake the makeup with this powder, and at first it's gonna look white, so don't freak out. But this is normal. Once I blend it in with a brush or kind of brush it off a bit, it will blend in seamlessly. it's basically translucent. The powder has zero pigment. As you can see, I focus most of the powder on my T-zone, and whatever's left on the Beauty Blender, I will just put on the outer edges of my face, because the outer edges of my face don't get as oily. Next, if I feel like I need to cover up some pimples or more redness, I'll take that Dior concealer and just focus on those areas. I like to use my finger. As I said before, the heat helps it sink in better and just become one with my skin. Once I've used concealer on my spots, I'll take that same powder with a Beauty Blender and dab it on just to mattify and make sure that it won't budge for the rest of the day. And in the end, it just looks like my skin. Little side note, when you use this powder, it gets everywhere, so wearing black isn't the best idea. Maybe change after you've done your makeup. Lastly, I'll use Makeup Revolution matte base powder. This has a bit of color in it, and I like to, not always, but especially now since I'm feeling a bit oily, I will put it on the T-zone area and under my eyes. It really gives this beautiful mattified effect, and it really holds throughout the day. Then I'll take my fluffy kabuki brush and I'll go all around my face, just making sure it's blended in. And as you can see, it just looks like skin but better, and you can still see my freckles. Now time for bronzer. I'm using Makeup Revolution bronzer. It's one of the lightest shades, if not the lightest, because right now it's fall and I'm becoming pale. I'm always pale actually, but paler than usual. And I love going all around my face with this just to give myself an even further glow. And again, please, please, please bring it down your neck so there are no harsh lines. And now I can roll up my turtleneck without having dirtied it. Now I'm just taking that same makeup wipe and I'm rubbing it on my lips to make sure there's no makeup. Then I go in with a bit of a darker bronzer. I'm using the Benefit Hoola bronzer, which many of you are familiar with. I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to flatten that brush, and I'm going to use this little technique I learned. I'm going to make a little line, very faint, on top of the ball of my nose and then below the ball of my nose. And then I'm going to do the sides of my nose into the creases of my eyelids. This is my way of contouring my nose. Everyone's noses are different, so you do you. Then I'm gonna go to my hairline and the sides of my face, just like where you usually would contour my forehead a bit, and I make sure not to go overboard. Then I'm going to do my cheekbones just right above where my cheekbones hit. Now they all say the key to a beautiful look is to blend, blend, blend. And let me tell you, that is true. You do not want any harsh lines. So I will also go on my jawline, not on it exactly, but just a bit below to give it that shadowy effect, which really brings out the sharpness of the jawline. Just a bit under my upper lip to give the illusion of like poutier lips. And voila! Now for blush. I'm using a lipstick, actually a lip butter by Revlon, and it is very old. It's been in my makeup bag for ages. Probably should switch that out. Looks like a pretty vibrant red, but to be honest, it's quite sheer, else I would not be using it on my cheeks. Looks scary at first, but when you use the warmth of your fingers to blend it in, it becomes this beautiful, just natural flush. With any sort of blush, I like to bring it across my nose a bit and on the tip of my nose. And a lot of people say stay towards the top half of your cheekbones or the apples of your cheeks. Well, I like to go all in because I think it gives like a kind of beautiful flushed look, like you were out all day in the sun. Next up is eyeliner, which I don't always use, especially during the day, but I'm using Essence Kajal eye pencil in the color Teddy. So this is a gorgeous coppery brown, and I love this with my hazel eyes. And for my eye shape, I love to do a little bit of a wing, and I do not go all the way from the inner corner to the outer corner because of my eye shape. I think it looks too severe. And I like to stick with pencil or crayon eyeliners because it's more subtle, especially for the daytime. When I use a liquid eyeliner, it just looks far too severe with how my eyes are. Next, I'll take a Q-tip and some eyeshadow. I'm using this very old Clinique eyeshadow that I've had in my bag for ages. Again, should probably switch that out. I use the Q-tip and I use that wine shade to blend out the eyeliner I just put on. As my eyes are hazel and have a lot of green in them, I find this wine shade to be beautiful with them and really bring out the green. I'll go into that same shadow with my pinky and I'll go on my lower lash line. I love using this on my lower lash line because I've noticed it really makes my eyes pop, especially the green in them, and it gives them a nice, natural, sultry look. Now for the eyelashes, I will, not always, but most of the time, use an eyelash curler. I start at the very base and then I work my way up, crimping it until the tips. I go back and forth with mascaras. I'm using CoverGirl Lash Blast currently. This is a classic. I'm going to start at the base and focus most of the product there and then wiggle it a bit and work my way up. I find this mascara to be intense in color yet natural and really spaces my eyelashes out and, well, keeps them apart, which I think is a very natural effect, and I love that. I could leave it at that, and most days I do, but I'm gonna go in with the Wet n Wild Max Volume Mascara. I love this mascara because of its brush. It really lengthens the lashes, so I focus more on the very ends of my lashes to build them up and give them even more length. And I'll just keep going at it until I feel like my lashes are separated enough for my liking. By the way, you might have noticed I didn't touch my eyebrows. That's because I recently got them microbladed and I am not allowed to touch them, and they're pretty fantastic how they are. And let me go into highlighter, which I almost forgot. I'm using the Bourjois Le Petit highlighter. And this is a very nice shimmery champagne color. It's extremely subtle and the complete opposite of glaring, so I love this during the day. As you can see, I focus on the bridge of my nose, the tip of my nose, inner corners of my eyes, right above my upper lip, the end tail of my eyebrows or below them, And then I like to take a brush for the tops of my cheekbones, just on the area where sunlight would hit. And I just place a little bit. Additionally, my forehead and my chin. I'm gonna go back in with that Revlon Color Burst lipstick and actually use it where it's supposed to go, my lips. It's so sheer. I like to blend it out with my finger, go a bit beyond my lip line to give it an almost bitten effect, and blend it out so it becomes a more natural hue. That is the look. How easy. It seems like a lot of steps, but it's not compared to most, and once you get the hang of it, it goes quite quickly. And here I am, feeling good about myself. And here it is up close. And that's all, folks. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more like this.